As the EU is still dealing with the repercussions of its energy dependency on Russia, there is another area that could pose an even bigger problem in the future: critical raw materials, where China is the most dominant player. However, the EU already has a plan. Let's take a closer look. Critical raw materials like lithium or rare earths are considered to be the prerequisite of the green and digital transition. However, there is currently one country that is dominating almost every step of the value chain when it comes to those critical raw materials: China. There are currently 30 raw materials that the EU deems critical. Of these 30 materials, 19 are predominantly mined and processed in China, leaving the EU largely dependent on the Eastern giant. Ever since the war in Ukraine broke out and the energy crises that came with it, the European Commission is increasingly wary of these dependencies and is increasingly treating them as security risks. As many of these critical raw materials are essential for the European industries, losing access to them would have devastating effects on the EU's industrial sector. Given that the global supply is expected to grow by 500% by 2050, according to the World Bank, Europe is in danger of losing the scramble for these resources amid a growing global competition for critical raw materials. During his State of the Union speech in September, Commission President Ursula von der Leyen already stressed the need to diversify these supply chains. Lithium and rare earths will soon be more important than oil and gas. We must avoid becoming dependent again, as we did with oil and gas, she stressed. And Europeans already got a taste of what these supply interruptions could entail. In September 2021, the Chinese government reduced the production of magnesium drastically, which led to prices spiking at almost 700%. With the EU importing around 95% of its magnesium from China, the steel and aluminium industry that needs magnesium was severely hit by the supply shortage. To tackle these evolving supply threats, the European Commission has proposed the Critical Raw Materials Act. While the legislation will only be presented in spring 2023, we already know what the file wants to achieve and how. Firstly, the European Commission wants to increase the extraction of these critical raw materials on its home turf. According to some sources, between 10 and 30% of each critical raw material should be extracted in the EU. Secondly, the European Commission also plans to diversify its supply chains by forging closer trade relations with like-minded democracies such as Chile, Mexico, Australia or India. However, there are multiple hurdles if the EU wants to move forward with this plan. One of them is local resistance to mining projects. Some lithium mining projects, for instance, have been dragged out for over a decade due to environmental concerns of local populations and NGOs. It is yet unclear how the European Commission plans on dealing with these local resistances, especially since the permitting process falls within the exclusive competency of the member states. Another problem is funding. With the EU's strict state aid rules in place, subsidizing the mining industry could prove difficult. While the Commission has already announced a special sovereignty fund that could help finance these projects, it is yet unclear what kind of shape such a fund would take and who would ultimately pay for it.